अस्सलाम वालेकुम फ्रेंड्स, कैसे हो आप लोग? तो ज्वाइन होइए, लाइव को लाइक करिए, सब्सक्राइब करिए। 3821 है। 4 जने निकालना चाहिए ऐसा करना। इधर से आना है लगा। नेट स्लो होको कट होगा बा। नेट स्लो होको कट होगा। 그러니까. 하루에 반이 되나 써대 살려잖아. 반이 되나.
Earth plants have fought with each other for hundreds of years, but that all changed after the separation of the Northeast and the United States. Crazy Arabs weren't allowed to fight each other while they fought everyone else, and soon they ruled an empire larger than any before. But the Muslims found a rival in Europe during the Middle Ages.
The biggest matter and radical.
As the Muslims were conquering Europe, they were stopped by the Franks who were led by Charles the Hammer, who also had a grandson named Charles, who was a full-crafted emperor of the Roman Empire, which would last for 1,000 years, even though part of it broke off with France. Over in the British Isles, some new types of furniture, and up north, the Vikings started stealing everybody's stuff, and suddenly, Rome started to move west and Germany, and obviously, in Greenland too.
What a scam!
Chill out. One day, geopolitics is going to make this place fall. Some Vikings even went to North America. Then the Vikings called Normans conquered the rest of England. And way over in Central Asia, the Turks started the Turkish targeting.
So what's the targeting?
It's an empire with a conquest over the Huns.
How do you know so much?
I'm the goat.
Many of the Khazars were Turks too, and so were the Uigurs, and the Ghaznavids, and the Seljuks. The Seljuks converted to Islam and started conquering everyone, including the Byzantines. So the Orthodox Byzantines asked the Catholics for help, even though they had kind of broke up recently. So the Pope called Christians to defeat, and instead they fought a holy war against the Muslims. So crusade after crusade, they plundered and killed in Christian love, and they established several states in the Holy Land that were later conquered by the Turkish Empire. The Mandans also fought the Mongols for expanded power. Wait, how did the Mongols get all the way over here? Are they supposed to be invaded? No, they came in power after conquering twice as much land as Alexander the Great. And then the Mongols doubled their territory again, and they might have brought the Black Death to Europe too. At least a third of Europe just died. I guess it's time for a renaissance and a printing press with movable type.
What should we print? Why words? Don't print it in Spanish. Why not? Does what happened What are you inquiring about?
Checking to see if the Jewish Catholics are secretly keeping the Sabbath.
And some of them were, so the Spanish burned the heretics, finished reconquering Spain from the Muslims, and kicked out the Jews and Muslims who would convert, just in time for the age of exploration. While the Portuguese were sailing around Africa for Spain and Muslims, Columbus took a shortcut and left at 351.
But this isn't Asia.
Said America, so everyone called it America. The Americans actually came to Asia when the oceans were low, or maybe they used boats. Some were hunters and gatherers, others were fishermen and farmers, and way down in Peru they built giant pyramids. Maybe they found the blueprints on the the Spanish gathered lots of gold and silver and all kinds of interesting foods and took them back to Europe. Meanwhile, the Portuguese finished sailing to Asia and built a huge trading empire. The Portugal divided the world in half. Then the Portuguese traders sailed some ships gold stuff to Africa and traded it for slaves. Then they traded the slaves for food, and they traded food for most of Europe. Rent for 3 weeks. But back in Europe, there was a big fight about religion as the Reformation got underway. A German Catholic church
हाँ
become the first mass media influence in the protest against the Catholic Church. The fans started reading the Bible and joining the Protestant Reformation.
많이 게
But King Henry VIII wanted it to fight.
많이
So he said,
I will make it legal.
and England became Protestant. So he married this woman, but she didn't have a son either. So he cut off her head and married another. And now England is ruled by his daughter Elizabeth, who loves pirates and loves the rocking with Spanish.
이제 들어
Then Pope Gregory fixed the calendar.
But the Pope is the Antichrist.
Said the Protestants, so they didn't use the new calendar. All these disputes about religion resulted in the rise of northwestern Europe. Hey, Byzantium just broke free from Spain, and now they're dominating the seas, capturing the spice trade, and painting overpriced tulips, while English pirates are beating back the Spanish invasion and sailing to America. In Europe had a daily discussion about which kind of Christianity is better. The newspapers all tried to colonize America, and gave very creative names to their new colony. But friends of Britain couldn't agree on who and what, and the argument turned into World War Zero.
아이고
Yay, we beat the French. But now they're in debt. What should we do about it? Tax the Americans.
The Americans didn't like the taxes, so they had a revolution. The French joined the fight against Britain.
Yay, we beat the British. But now they're in debt. What should we do? Tax the people.
The people didn't like the taxes, so they had a revolution. And then Napoleon seized power and conquered Europe, until Britain told him it was time to retire on an island.
Now, everyone can have a revolution.
Exciting Boulevard and began revolution after revolution in Latin America. The British wanted to have a revolution too, but just an industrial one. So they started using steam power to make everything faster and cheaper. And now they need to sell this stuff somewhere. So they built the Second British Empire. Britain sent their criminals to establish Australia. Loyalists from the American colonies created Canada. And since the British controlled the seas, they outlawed seaborne slave trade for the whole world and sent freed slaves to start Sierra Leone. Meanwhile, the British East India Company was expanding in India. India had been divided into various kingdoms for more than 1,000 years, until the Mughals conquered most of India and built some fancy buildings. But as the Mughal Empire, the Marathas expanded from the west, and the East India Company expanded from the east until they controlled all of India. The East India Company was also selling opium from India to drug dealers in China. When China told them to stop, the British Navy showed up and took on cost. As Christian missionaries spread ideas in China, this guy had a dream and decided he was the brother of Jesus Christ. So he led a rebellion which left as many as 30 million dead. The United States was also growing in power, so they showed up in Japan and told them it was time to stop isolating themselves.
이나라 올라가지 자
Politically so big. About 1,000 years earlier, some Vikings set up a kingdom over here. Yeah, very close to us. There were monsters, yeah. Then the Byzantines were founded by the Turks. Hey, the Russians just
وليه كده جوزي بقى
competition is taking the great powers down the path to war. The empires were all expanding as they were instead of becoming modern empires. And now there's nowhere left to expand. There's modern empires. And now everyone's inventing crazy technologies like telegraphs and telephone, airships and airplanes, battleships and submarines, websites like funhistory.tv, where you can get free members-only videos and other cool stuff. You should also watch the next video which is on one of the fun images, the rest of history. If you don't see that video on the screen, go to funhistory.tv to get a sneak peek while you wait for something great.
Oh no, my teeth aren't light enough, and I'm traveling in a week.
Don't worry. With Crest 3D White Strips, you'll be ready with visibly whitened teeth in only 7 days. So you can shine with a Hollywood smile. Don't just whiten it, Hollywood it.
Friends, in 1686, the British East India Company waged war against the Mughal Empire. Aurangzeb was on the
What if I told you that keeping your money safe in the bank is actually one of the biggest financial mistakes that you can make? As an investment manager, I've spoken to thousands of Muslims.
सारे गुंडेगान खोलकर सुन ले 5 तारीख के बाद किसी भी
She feels that the Chinese-owned tanker was hit in the U.S.-Iran crossfire near the Strait of Hormuz. Is Beijing still just a bystander after its first tanker is attacked? Will this strike on China link vessel force she to move beyond warnings and edge closer to entering the war? Beijing issued a sharp warning after the mystery attack that set the Chinese as Beijing's energy lifeline gets dragged into the line of fire. Trump heading to a pivotal China meeting. Is he trying to lure Xi into the conflict, or betting that a rattled Beijing will quietly concede more at the bargaining table? China voiced deep concern after a Chinese-linked tanker was attacked near the Strait of Hormuz on May 4th, amid already elevated tensions in the region. Beijing confirmed that Chinese nationals were aboard the vessel and the incident, according to official statements cited in local and international media. China said no crew casualties had been reported following the attack, stressing that all personnel were accounted for despite damage to the ship. The vessel came under attack near the United States coast, close to Mina Sec, as tensions between Iran and the United States soared in the Gulf War. Chinese media reported that this was the first known attack on a Chinese oil tanker since the Iran-U.S. conflict and related war in the region began, highlighting the incident's significance for Beijing. The ship is believed to be the Marshall Islands Flag Products and chemical tanker JV Innovation, according to maritime security sources cited by Reuters and other outlets. The vessel was marked China owner and crew on its hull at the time of the attack. Images and reports from the scene indicated. Maritime security sources said the vessel reported a fire on its deck following the incident and issued distress alerts to nearby ships. Crew members reportedly believe the ship was hit by shells or possibly a drone, though investigators have not yet confirmed the exact weapon used. JV Innovation's chief engineer has said it remains unclear who attacked the vessel, underscoring the ongoing uncertainty over attribution and responsibility. The incident comes just ahead of Chinese President Xi Jinping's plans to
Why is $1 not the same as 1 pound or 1 yen? A dollar, a pound, and a yen are all just pieces of paper or numbers on a screen. So why isn't $1 worth the same as 1 pound or 1 yen? It seems random, like someone just decided what each currency should be worth. But currency value isn't about the symbol printed on it. It's about what that currency can buy.
2 crore rupees. You are lucky to get into a bond, which will get you 8%. The problem is that you will keep getting 60 lakh rupees on those 2 crore capital. And that might be good enough or more than enough today, but it may not be more than enough 3 years from now.
Following Welcome to Investors Hangout brought to you by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund and Value Research. Now you worked for 30 years, you retired, you did your purpose during this time, and the day you retired, something changed twice. Not just your schedule, but the way you should work here on. So today with the Kumar, we talk about this shift, a plan to meet your money task. Welcome, Deepak.
Thank you.
First up, let's begin with, does retirement change the way one invests or how one invests? What is it that actually changes drastically?
It changes everything. All your life you will save, you earn, you save and you invest it. And it was only growing. Well, at 2-3 occasions in your life before retirement, you took out some part of it for building a house, maybe buying a house or for your child's education or some such thing. But it was only growing, it was rising, and you had a big fallback. And the tap was on. Every month you get the money from which you spend, and you are still left with something. That is how all our working life works, right? Plans out. Then what happens? Here the tap comes to an end. So you become little fearful, you become little conservative. Even if you have any amount of money, the fact that from accumulation phase you are getting into distribution phase, deriving something, so that makes you conservative. That also the retirement sometimes make you very vulnerable, because the moment you retire, and if you are coming from a formal work structure, you get your superannuation benefit, you get the PF benefit or whatever, and all the a part of your employer contribution, some large sum of money, and you are not used to handling it. You are suddenly faced with a situation that you lived on a month-on-month basis, and suddenly it looks like a big money, and you are not geared to handle it. How to deal with it? Then the fourth problem is, it makes you extremely vulnerable. Many people look at you as a prey, that you have money and everybody knows it, and you are not used to handling that sum of money. So it requires checks and balances at different levels.
Right. And one has to make sure that the tank never runs dry on even on.
That is one of that is the biggest thing. What I said was that is an emergency situation when you are being looked upon as a prey and you are not used to handling. That is the first set of problem. Second set of problem is how to configure yourself that you don't exhaust your money while in your lifetime. How to make it last forever, because the prospect of spending all your money or outliving your savings, investment, is a very big one.
So now let's move on to how should one split their money in retirement.
The broad principle to divide your money to be invested post-retirement is one is the sacrifice money, the emergency money, which you can just bank on and it will lie there and it is not exposed to any kind of risk. Second is your income increase, the money which will be invested in such a manner that it will support you with regular income. So one is the safety net, second one is the income. And then if you are still left with some money, that should be invested in such a manner that will provide you protection against inflation. The money